In Pembroke and Charlotte, Maine, the month of March is hinted at all year long in the name of two bodies of water that reside in these towns, Pennamequon Lake and the Pennamequon River. Maquon, in the language of the Passamaquoddy, means maple sap, and the name of the lake is anglicized from Pennamaquunk, which means where the maple sap is gathered. And of course, the maple sap is gathered in March to make maple syrup.
When you see the vapor pillar lick the forest and the sky, you may know the days of sugar making then are drawing nigh. Frosty night and sunny day make the maple pulses play, till congested with its sweetness it delights to bleed away. Oh, bubble, 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 bubble goes the pan. Furnish sweeter music for the season if you can. See the golden billows, watch their ebb and flow. Sweetest joys indeed, we sugar makers know. When you see the farmer trudging with his dripping buckets home, you may know the days of sugar making then have fully come. When the fragrant odors pour through the open kitchen door, how the eager children rally ever loudly calling more. Oh, bubble, 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 bubble goes the pan. Furnish sweeter music for the season if you can. See the golden billows, watch their ebb and flow. Sweetest joys indeed, we sugar makers know. So you say you don't believe it, take a saucer and a spoon. Though you're sour than a lemon, you'll be sweeter very soon. Why, the greenest leaves you see on the spreading maple tree, though they sip and sip all summer, will the autumn beauties be. Oh, bubble, 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 bubble goes the pan. Furnish sweeter music for the season if you can. See the golden billows, watch their ebb and flow. Sweetest joys indeed, we sugar makers know. And for home or love or any kind of sickness, 'tis the thing. Take in allopathic doses and repeat it every spring, until everyone you meet, if at home or on the street, will have half a mind to bite you, for you look so very sweet. Oh, bubble, 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 bubble goes the pan. Furnish sweeter music for the season if you can. See the golden billows, watch their ebb and flow. Sweetest joys indeed, we sugar makers know.
Vermont is the New England state most famous for maple syrup, and it's where the song you just heard was written. The practice of gathering sap from maple trees is very old. The many Native American tribes of New England knew you could concentrate the sugar and maple sap by boiling it, and European settlers learned this process very early on. The desired product was not syrup like today, but a dry sugar that was easy to store and transport. This was known as maple sugar, and still today people collect their sap from a sugar bush and have sugar shacks or camps, where they boil their sap. In 1912, the Vermont Maple Sugar Makers Association published a short history on the maple sugar industry. They describe the old process used in the 18th and early 19th centuries. The trees were tapped with axes in the Indian way, the sap caught in wooden troughs and gathered to some central place in buckets, carried on the shoulders with a sap yoke. And if the snow was deep, snowshoes were used to travel on. The boiling was done in large iron kettles swung upon a pole in the open woods in some hollow, sheltered from the wind, with no protection from the sun, rain, or snow, and the numerous impurities of charcoal, ashes, and leaves. Here is the boiling process described in 1720. After you have got your liquor, you boil it in a pot, kettle, or copper. 10 gallons will make somewhat better than a pound of sugar. It becomes sugar by the thin part evaporating in the boiling, for you must boil it till it is thick as treacle. When you take it off, you must keep almost continually stirring it in order to make it sugar. Otherwise, it will candy as hard as a rock. Some put in a little beef suet, as big as a walnut, when they take it off the fire, to make it turn the better to sugar, and to prevent its candying, but it will do without. A good large tree will yield 20 gallons. Sugar makers today mostly make syrup. Commercial operations use a very sophisticated system of tubing and large evaporators, but backyard sugar makers still use a wide variety of methods to collect and boil sap. The tree most commonly used for maple syrup is the sugar maple. Its Latin name, Acer saccharum, means sugar maple. Another common name in Maine is rock maple because of its very hard wood. The wood is used for many things, including firewood, furniture making, and at one time the keels of sailing vessels. This tree thrives in cooler climates on upland slopes, but it is widely spread in mixed and deciduous forests throughout the state of Maine and New England. It can reach up to 80 feet in height, but is typically 50 to 60 feet tall. You can tell this tree apart from other maples by the smooth margins of its leaves. Other maples, like mountain maple and red maple, have very serrated leaves. The leaves of the non-native Norway maple are very easy to confuse with the sugar maple, but they are somewhat broader. The samaras, which are the winged fruits found on all maples, have different shapes. The sugar maple's wings face downward, while the Norway maples go straight out. Maple sugaring is synonymous with the late winter and early spring, and this one last winter activity before spring comes when everyone is in a lull and is looking for a cure for their cabin fever. I'll leave you with one last image of maple sugaring from Robert Frost. From where I lingered in a lull in March outside the sugar house one night for choice, I called the fireman with a careful voice and bade him leave the pan and stoke the arch. "O fireman, give the fire another stoke, and send more sparks up chimney with the smoke." I thought a few might tangle as they did among the bare maple boughs, and in the rare hill atmosphere not cease to glow, and so be added to the moon up there. The moon, though slight, was moon enough to show on every tree a bucket with a lid, and on black ground a bearskin rug of snow. The sparks made no attempt to be the moon. They were content to figure in the trees as Leo, Orion, and the Pleiades, and that was what the boughs were full of soon.